Let's move on. You mentioned that we would talk about this, the deportation of a child with Down syndrome. This is a story that's happening in Western Australia, in Perth. Give us your overview of what's happening, Dan.
Well, there's a family from India who immigrated in 2016. They have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they've been in the country for that long. Now, they've been told by letter in the last week or so that they won't be able to get permanent residency because their Down syndrome boy, Aryan, is too much of a financial burden on the government. Now, the government is saying that this child will cost something of the order of $600,000 to fund. You know, I imagine they're thinking over the next 5 or 6 years. And so the government says, no, you can't stay. The whole family's got to go. So unless the Immigration Minister, Andrew Giles, intervenes in the next 2 weeks, that family has to be deported. Now, just some things about the child. The child has very limited disability. The child has Down syndrome, which manifests in sort of a delayed speech, but a very, just a very capable young child. The child goes to a mainstream school. The child and his family have not accessed the NDIS, which tells you that child is, there's not too much wrong with that child. And what the government is doing is they are sending a message that if you have, if a child has Down syndrome, they're a burden. And I think it's a message that goes beyond the immigration issue to the life issue. It's sending a message to everyone and to young pregnant mothers even that if their child has Down syndrome, that child really ought to be aborted because they're a burden on society. And here we have a scenario where the government's actually quantified it. Now, these children are not burdens. They bring a lot of joy and happiness. And this particular child is a beautiful child, as a fair bit to be seen online. Wendy Francis, who, as I say, is flying into Canberra, has reached out this morning for a meeting with the Minister, Andrew Giles, and we will be looking to connect our grassroots to this project, whether it be by petition or phone calls. We will take action on this because it's just too important. You've got a family that both parents are working in pretty high level jobs. One's in I think cyber security, one's in IT, paying their tax, and this child is not even on the NDIS and is in a mainstream school. Now, I wouldn't care if the child was in a special school; it made no difference to me. The reality is that every life matters, and to deport a family because they have a child with Down syndrome is basic discrimination on the basis of disability, nothing short of it. So we'll be getting pretty angry today, Neil, and the Minister's going to be hearing from us in no uncertain terms.
Well, Godspeed to you and to Wendy Francis, who's making those approaches today, because at the heart of what you're describing there, Dan, discrimination against people with disabilities or those who might have a medical condition is something where, as Christians, we say, wait a minute, that's not on. And every life does matter and every life has value. So for listeners today, they might be looking for opportunities to be a part of a petition that you're about to launch. Let me say this is how you find the Australian Christian Lobby, acl.org.au. And from where you are right now, you could participate in that petition, acl.org.au. Undoubtedly, there's more to follow along as we monitor the developments around that case. Dan Flynn is Deputy Director of the Australian Christian Lobby. Dan, thanks so much for another great update today on 2020.
It's always my pleasure, Neil. Thank you.